Okay, good afternoon and welcome to a review of Adachi to Shimamura episode 11. I can't believe we're on episode 11. I mean, next week is Christmas Eve. That's what they air. Christmas Eve. Like, literally, it's going to make one of those Christmas episodes. They're going to give us an early Christmas present next week. And that's going to be Adachi and Shimamura together forever. That's going to be that. But, Adachi to Shimamura has been one of the most purest shows of the fall. That to The Day I Become a God. And if you watch Day to Become a God, which is kind of like Angel Beats, one of my saddest animes of all time, and Charlotte, you could just see those two are the most purest shows we've gotten. Now, episode 11 of Adachi and Shimamura gave us more on Adachi's standpoint. For weeks, for episode by episode, we've been cheering for Adachi since day one. We have been talking about Adachi from the moment she started. And we asked ourselves this, as Team Adachi, what are we going to do for her? Is she going to have the moments? Is she going to have every aspect to say, I love you, Shimamura? There are times when I sit down and watch this episode and I say to myself, Adachi, go for it. Do it. Just say it. Let it out. But no. She hasn't. And that's okay. That's okay. Because when it comes to Adachi and Shimamura's relationship, I'm like that when it comes to Citrus. Like when it comes to Citrus, I'm rooting for Yuzu to be open with May. Just like that. And in Blooming to You, I'm rooting for the pigtail girl. That's just me. But other than that, I'm rooting for Adachi more time than ever because Adachi is that type of freaking character just to go for it. Now, as you know, I'm trying to hit 300 subscribers, but the thing is, once I hit 300, I want to give you my thoughts. I have a point thing. Before I do my review of episode 11, I want to say that thank you for watching my videos, and I want to make 300 as much as I can. So if I do hit 300 subscribers, I want to talk about School Days and my final thoughts on School Days. I know everybody has talked about School Days, but I want to give you guys my final thoughts on School Days. A show that is so controversial that even kids don't want to watch it. Or people who recommended it, you might want to regret that. But again, that's just me. And like I said, I know famous YouTubers have done it. I understand. But I want to do it in my terms as well. So thank you. So make 300 subscribers, please. So anyway, let's get down and talk about Adachi and Shimamura episode 11. Okay, so now we're looking at Adachi's standpoint. Now last week we had Shimamura's moments. She finally has her moments, and we want to see what she's getting through. Now we're looking at Adachi, and we're looking at from Adachi's storyline about everything that transpired from Shimamura's last week's episode. You know, when Shimamura's hanging out with her friends and in the gym. So now we're looking at Adachi's storyline, kind of like how you're looking at Abby and Ellie's story from The Last of Us Part 2. And like I said, Last of Us 2, Game of the Year, and I was happy for that. Won multiple awards. Take that, you Ghost of Tsushima fans. Take that, you Animal Crossing loving people. Take that, you Final Fantasy people. But it didn't get wrong. Anyway, so like I said, we're looking at Adachi's storyline as what we seen from Shimamura's storyline last week. So Adachi is on the rooftop, just sitting, minding her own business like she does in the first episode. Now, as she glows a little bit, she sees that there's Adachi. I mean, she thought there was Shimamura coming like she normally does. But no, it's just a random girl, a 30-year no less, hiding and reading her books. And I'm like, and the thing is, I love how that kind of triggered people in that opening. Like, how you started was Adachi sitting on top of the roof, the school gym, minding her own business, and then you ended with somebody walking, about to see Adachi walking, and you end up put the opening. You play the opening, and then you go right towards the part where she just freaked, and then you go right to the part when a new girl comes in. I'm like, damn, that is just hurt. Now, Adachi minding her own business, and then she bumps into Shimamura's friend. Shimamura's childhood friend. I'm like, oh, no. No. And I'm sitting right there, it just kills me. Like, no, don't do this. You bump into Shimamura's friend, and she picked up that little keychain, and then she gave it back to her. And you know what's funny about this scene? I thought one of them was gonna bring up Shimamura, Like, one of them gonna have to bring it up. And I was hoping they will have to. And then a tear more, you know what, this episode had a lot of tears. Adachi has brought more tears in this episode. I mean, she saw a dog that has the exact same color hair as Adachi. A dog that has the exact same color hair as Adachi. And then she started crying, and I felt bad for Adachi because she sees herself as a dog locked up in a freaking cage. Not like a cage, more like a playroom cage type thing. But other than that, she sees Adachi. She sees the puppy as herself, locked up in a cage with a smile, with a, want to get out and be open. That's the symbolism that it shows. And so she cried, and she's upon this fake fortune teller girl who ran away from the cops later on. She tells her, you gotta be open. Your heart is made of steel. You have a heart of steel. Be open. Let it out. Let it go. Let your emotions kick into overdrive. Just freaking say it. I love you, Shimamura. Say it. Let it out. So it's kind of like, even a fortune teller, even a fake fortune teller even gave you points on that. Okay, now let's continue. Adachi she's stepping up her battleground. I mean, like last week she was a shy girl. Now she stepped up, approached Shimamura and those 3 side character friends, talking about like, oh, can I sit next to you? I brought some bread. And I don't care what those 3 characters say. Those side characters looking at them differently. I don't give a crap. That is love right there, and you stick with it. Okay, sorry. Sorry. Okay, now the other thing is, we gotta talk about, again, Adachi stepping up her crown. This episode, I really like this episode again because it's about her courage to even step up even more. And there are times when Adachi has done it. And we give her props for that. I mean, there are moments that we want to say it! But no. Now, the whole holding hands thing, I like that scene. They were holding hands. And then, normally Shimamura will say something bold. But Adachi says something pretty bold in this one. She grabbed Shimamura and met her at a parking lot with a tree, at that little sakura tree, and hugged her tight. Now, unlike the hug from last time, unlike the hug from the Christmas one, this hug was more like a tight squeeze. Like, when she hugged Shimamura, it was more like a hug. But in this one, this was more like a tighter squeeze. Like, that's a hug. This is a tighter hug. You know what I mean? So when Adachi hugged her, it was like, oh my God. Yes. And she said, I want to be with you, Shimamura. And I'm like, oh my God. Just say, I like you. I mean, I give you props for that. But you should have said it. You should have said more things. Now, even before, and I hate to go back. Let me go back a little more. The part when Adachi saw Shimamura's keychain, the same keychain as her childhood friend, I thought Adachi was gonna hit the nail on the head and saying, "Oh, I bumped into somebody who has that same keychain, and she had brown hair and all that stuff." I thought Adachi was gonna bring her up to Shimamura, because if Adachi would have bring that up, I would have been like, "Yeah." And I'm like, she put the pieces together because she saw Shimamura with that exact same teddy bear keychain. And I thought that Adachi was going to legit say, oh, I found I met someone who has the exact same thing. I just wish that in that scene, Adachi should have exchanged numbers with her friend, her childhood friend. And at that point, we could have been like, oh, here we go. But no. But again, at least Adachi noticed the same teddy bear keychain. So I'm like, okay, that's fair enough for this. Okay, now, the phone call. I'm sorry, before I even get that, like, Shimamura, with Shimamura, she don't see Adachi as a sister anymore. She's like, wait a minute, I'm like a mother now. So it's kind of like, oh, she upgraded from a sister to like a sister to Adachi to a mother to Adachi. Like, when is Shimamura going to see the girlfriend factor in all of this? Now, the phone call. Let me tell you this. We've known Adachi from episode 1, and her tears brings out more and more sadness, but overjoy. Adachi has been, it's like whatever word Shimamura says to cheer Adachi up, it's always a tear or a shy or a whatever, or makes Adachi smile. That's the thing. And the phone conversation they had is like, it's so pure that Adachi said, "You're the one I want to talk to you the most of, like, overall." It's that moment that makes me hit, because like I said, Adachi doesn't have any like friends. Like, I can understand the two side characters that we've seen a lot, but for Adachi to go out there in the blaze of glory to find the love that she wanted, it's right there. I mean, she was crying over the phone. That's love right there at a nutshell. And if Shimamura don't see that, like, why she's crying, it's not there. And I like how their two fingers touch, because it's like at any second now, once their fingers touch, it's that, the pureness of love. And that's that. But like I said, and I can't wait for next week's episode. That's for me. But like I said, this episode was so pure and elegant for Adachi. Adachi right now is stepping up her game. She's, like I said before in every episode, Adachi is just stepping up. Let me just say that. She's stepping up every episode as it gets. And in this episode, she finally shown her true color. She's finally unlocking her emotions. Let me just say that. She's unlocking her emotions. And in this episode, we got that. So like I said, this episode is really great. I have no problems with every episode. But Adachi in this episode, she stepped up her game. And again, I like this episode. I see nothing wrong with this. I see the development that Adachi is pushing herself through to continue to have some kind of relationship to Shimamura as it progresses on and on and on. Now, next week is the last. I know this video is long. Now, I know next week is the last episode of Adachi to Shimamura, and on Christmas Eve. So I look forward for a good Christmas present of Adachi and Shimamura together in next week's episode. That's going to be our Christmas present to us and to all Yuri anime fans alike. So I look forward for next week's episode, and I hope you will.